Right, well, we're a minute early, but we'll make a start. So, nice to see you. So, this is Mark Wynne from Circles, and you're going to talk about community circles, Rochdale Circle, and you work with adults. So,
yeah, I think the sort of for today, what I want to make the link is, as with the children, or we sort of tell children that growing old's a bad thing. You know, when you get old, you're done for and you're past it. But we want to just change that sort of perception. So I'm going to start with a little quiz, and don't worry, I won't be asking for answers. So we'll crack on. So the first question would be, where would you go for a coffee or a meal with your friends? And I think when I met you before, Lois, I actually asked you these. So in what year did the Sex Pistols play Manchester Leicester Free Trader Hall in their breakthrough concert? And in what year did the Beatles last play the Cavern Club? So you'll get the answers at the end, but the first one is a subjective question, so you can't really get that wrong. So where would you go for a coffee or a meal with your friends? So why we ask that, it's part of what we do. We go for meals and we go for coffee with our friends and stuff. But we very rarely go to a community centre, which is a very sort of, I'm making an assumption that it's quite an English or British thing. There will be equivalents abroad, but they're very much run down church hall, leaky roof style things. But we will go to a restaurant where I would pick, you know, where you would pick. We go to a nice coffee shop or somewhere like that. We put events on where members would like to go. So all the people themselves select the venues, we organise it, and they come along. And as you can see, they have a good time. So each month we'll organise 50 to 60 of these type of events, and they'll range from meeting up for a coffee or going out for a meal through to hot air ballooning across the Lake District, indoor skydiving. On the next slide, you'll see a couple of ladies abseiling down Rochdale Town Hall Clock. So we do the things that you want to do. So the thing, like, you want to go for a meal, you want to go for a coffee with your friends, but also the things you've always wanted to do. So there's always then things that, you know what, I fancy going hot air ballooning, but you wouldn't do it on your own. But members pick these things, and we facilitate that. So every year we'll get around a total attendance of around 7,000 aggregate, if you will. Over our lifespan, we've had over 43,000 total attendances, and we've organised over 3,000 of these different events. Now you can't see the ladies abseiling because our pictures are in the way, but we've done. We haven't physically landed a jet plane. It wasn't that scary, but we've done the simulator, so we just have a good time. And we also do practical support. So older people struggle to get somebody out to come and do a job. And a lot of the time, it's not because they haven't got the money for the job. It's the perception of what you would call a rogue trade, that they're frightened of being ripped off. So they don't have jobs done, but we have a team, all DBS checked, which is police background checked, insured, vetted, who go and do those jobs. So we do literally hundreds of jobs every year. And it's always the little jobs that you would struggle to get somebody out to come and do. So if you're an older person on your own and the light bulb goes and you can't reach it, who do you call? Well, it's not Ghostbusters, and an electrician is not going to come out and do it, but we will. So it's a service we offer. We say we have like a new vision for befriending, and befriending as an image of one person going to another person's house, sitting there having a coffee, and then coming away. But in reality, if somebody's lonely and on their own, just by adding one person into their friendship circle, you're not really changing their behaviour. So for us, it's about going around for that coffee, having the chat, but then inviting them along to a different event. So it could be a breakfast for blokes. We may ring them, or we'll do lunch, or a talk, anything that would get them out. And with the best will in the world, you've got to have a diverse offer. And I think the classic example we use is restaurants have menus, because we all don't like the same thing. And if they only sold one product and that was the one thing, that restaurant wouldn't last very long. But we tend to treat older people like that there's one thing on offer, and that's what you're getting. It's Tuesday and it's cheese and onion pie. Take it or leave it. So we try and break that particular mould. We also operate a volunteer driver service, and exactly what it says on the tin: volunteers drive as a service, take older people to hospital, doctors, dentists, that sort of medical appointment, but also to social events, to the social events we organise, all delivered by volunteers, 17,000 trips in a normal year. I'm talking pre-COVID. And it's just the most fantastic service, and it allows people to remain independent. They're not reliant on infrequent bus services. The drivers are all DBS background checked, insured, and everything, and we have all the documentation. And it's probably one of the best things that we actually do. Our most popular service. But for all them nice things, we always ask the question: does Circle work? Does all that social events, volunteer drivers, befriending, and bits doing somebody's garden, does it actually make a difference? So we've interviewed our members, just shy of 80% report increased social activity, over half improved self-confidence, a similar figure for health and well-being, 14.4% reduction in GP visits, which if you extrapolated that across any country would be in the billions worth of saving. And we're really proud that even those people who don't, it's not for them, they would recommend it to friends. But again, it always comes back to that question: does Circle work? And there's, I think it was Disraeli, an old British Prime Minister, said that there's lies, damn lies, in statistics. So the stats that we've just put up could prove anything. And sometimes and we did them. We asked those questions. And so we were contacted by a university studying social isolation and loneliness, and they said we were the best example they could find worldwide, and could they come to Rochdale and see it firsthand? So we obviously said yeah, and they flew in from Osaka in Japan. So the University of Osaka in Japan flew to Rochdale. That isn't on the normal EasyJet or Virgin Atlantic routes. And they came along to a social event. They assumed, we all make assumptions of what people do in a different country, and they assumed that being English, we went for an afternoon tea. Being a former welder from Rochdale, I'd never had an afternoon tea in my life. But we put it on, and they came along and they had a ball. And what they said was, they felt they'd not walked into anything clinical. They felt they'd walked into some friends who were having an afternoon tea, and that for us was the biggest compliment that we got. We've received a lot of recognition and awards from the British government. We're a community interest company, and we're used as a flagship good example on the BBC, on the government's CIC website. We've done all sorts of different awards. We were awarded the Greater Manchester Social Enterprise of the Year, I think 2017, 2018. So we're really proud of what we've achieved. And just this morning, obviously I'm on a conference with you guys, but I got an email from Korea inviting us to do to an international conference, and we're really proud of that. But the only downside was that they said if it hadn't been for COVID, they'd have took us there in person. So a bit of a kick in the shin, but we'll take it. And in the north of England, there's a genre of music, Northern Soul, which takes from Chicago and the sort of northeast Rust Belt of America, but it stayed really loyal. So we called it Northern Soul to Soul, and so we're really proud of that. So we're going to come now to the answers to the questions, and the reason why we asked those questions of when was the Sex Pistols breakthrough concert, and when did the Beatles last play the Cavern Club. So the average age, according to the statistics of a concert attendee, is 27. I used to use my daughters as the benchmark for this, but one of them's 30 now, so it doesn't quite work. But the 27-year-old who attended the Sex Pistols concert in 1976, which is the answer, is now 72. So they don't want Vera Lynn or that sort of musical World War II era music. They want a lot more modern taste, and I think that's the perception that we teach children, that older people are somehow time locked in 1945. And the 27-year-old who attended the Beatles concert in 1963 is now in their 80s. So as you can see, it is a bit, the world has changed, and older people they're now younger obviously not physically, but metaphorically, they're a younger group. So I think if we can work that, getting old ain't no bad thing really, and you can enjoy life and life changes, and it makes some positive changes too. So that, in a nutshell, is me. So